Hey, welcome back. Thanks for joining me. Topic for today is chords, my favourite chords in the key of D. I'm going to jump straight in. Now, open D chord isn't particularly a favourite chord of mine, it's just what it is. I do love, though, the amount of notes that I can, like adding other notes. You've probably heard... It's not strictly speaking in the key of D major, but and likewise, here's something I made up, not using the same notes, but the same sort of principle. And there's a lot more to it, but so you can see, like, explore with your fingers. What I really recommend you to do is realise that all the open strings are in the notes of D major scale. All the notes at the second fret, none of the notes at the first fret. The third fret at the top string, the bottom string, and the second string. So if you can get that in your noggin so that you know that they're the notes, then you can be playing any chord in D in this area, and you can sort of expose notes or add notes. Expose by letting open strings play, and add notes by adding fingers. I mean, even something like, you know, once you realise that, so I've explored like, oh well, playing notes only playing on the second fret. So obviously, well, maybe not obviously, I can't speak to what you do and don't know, but A7 is second and fourth. I'll give you tab for everything at the end of this video, right? I'm going to do this video, then I'm going to write all the tab out, and then I'll put the tab in the video, all right? That A7. Head northward with both fingers, and then, like, just in the centre four strings, that's a B minor. And if we add the top string as well, in relation to B, and E is an 11, so that's a nice beautiful sound. So you find this sort of thing if you learn where the notes are in any given area of the neck. And one of the reasons I like D is because I find it very easy to remember those locations over the first four frets. That's the truth. A D major 7, like very simplest D major 7. So if I'm teaching a beginner, I'm going like, look, let's go for one finger chords, top three strings. That's a D major 7. That's a one finger G major. With that D major 7, if I can push down the fattest string, that's nice. It's a nice 6-string D instead of just a thin 4-string. If you get control of your pinky, there's some nice things to be had with running bass lines. So that's the 4th fret of the 5th string, that's the major 7th note. Anyway, that major 7, I'm not supposed to be composing, making stuff. I like that a lot. D chords, I think I'll be bringing up, so you got this C major 7, we haven't got a C in the key of D, alright? But if you take that fingering, that grip, you probably know, and move it up 2 frets. Now, I'll miss out the top string for now. So we've got the open G string. So the fingers were pushing. The fingers were pushing down. The notes were pushing down the fifth, the root, the major third, another root, and the open G string. If you go through the D major scale, so when we're analysing a chord, we analyse it in relationship to the major scale for that chord. So D major scale. The G note's the 4 note. So that's therefore a D add 4, which I think is beautiful. Now the top string is an E. Now when you think, oh, where's the E? Well, it's the second note. Although in the upper octave, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it's become a D add 4, add 9. So something that I'll just quickly sort of nudge you into recognising that a lot of chords, if you just sort of strum it and go, oh, what's this like? Oh, no, I don't like the sound of that. The more complex the chord, so if you've got a 5-note chord, as we have there, plug the notes in individually, even if you are going to strum it ultimately. Plug them individually and give yourself time to really hear what each bit sounds like. All right, some of the most beautiful things, they're beautiful because they really are discordant. They're rubbing up against each other. You know, my favourite, going off key and off topic slightly, but if I play this D minor 9 that I love, and most people go, oh yeah, that's beautiful. But if I just play the top 2 strings, you'll probably wish you could reach through the screen and poke me in the eye with a sharp stick, because they really make a horrendous sound. But that's what beauty in music is. It's things that cause tension. And when you just sort of go, do I like this? No, don't like this, don't like this. That's what I find with some beginners I teach. I need to go to, whoa, take a breath, slow down, listen to each bit carefully. Training our ears is so much of it. Anyway, where was I? I do sometimes play with this just D power chord and then using the top string, because that gives me a nice D sus 9. And if you've watched videos where I'm talking about improvising, I love improvising with chords that haven't got a third, because then I can treat it as major or minor, and suddenly the world opens up for me as with regard to how many of the 12 notes that we have I can actually incorporate into my improvising. So yeah, I love sus. I love 7 chords that are sus, like sus. I call them sus 7s. So it's got a 7 in it, probably a minor 7, sometimes a major 7, but no 3. Sus suspended, you get suspended from school, chucked out from school. Suspended means that the third has been suspended, there's no third. It's the third that makes it major or minor. I hope that was useful for some. D, what would I play this? No, don't particularly like that. Do like bar chords, but instead of barring, just push down the root note. So D, so like a 1, 5, 4, 5 sort of. I really like those sounds. I do that with a lot of chords. Obviously some sound horrendous. You find what sounds horrendous and you don't do it again. I mean, as an actual chord, we've got some interesting notes, because the B string, that's a 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh no. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's like a D major 6. and the E is a 9, as we mentioned before. So we've got a D major add 6, add 9. Yeah. I think that's all my favourites. There's something I haven't mentioned and I can't offhand think what it is. So that's the D chord. They're all the 1 chord. I definitely say at the moment my favourite E minor chord is an E minor 9. If I'm playing that down here, 2nd fret, 4th fret, as I'm on an E minor 9. This is my latest E minor 9 that I really like. It's a bit of a stretch. So the 9 is there, the F sharp note. That's on the 4th string, and on the 5th string I'm playing the root, an E. I mean, this is the It's a part of a recent composition of mine. How does it go? Do like that as far as E minor 9 goes. And I will mention, because I do incorporate it into quite a lot of things. So this is D minor moved up 2 frets, D minor, D sharp minor, E. I might go like that. I think one of the things I like about it is I was exploring, much like I was saying with the D major earlier, so things like I don't know, like so again, exploring some bass lines, if you like, whilst keeping a static chord on top of the bass line. So up here, I often do explore a lot of chords where I'm pushing strings down the 5th, the 4th and the 3rd, and I'm simply either going right major 3rd, minor 3rd, then minor, or minor 3rd, then major 3rd. So this is an E minor there. And if I push down my 3rd string at the 7th fret instead, that gives me a lovely little E minor 7. And rather than that E minor that most people play, if it's just an E minor, I'll tend to go to these two instead. There is actually a reason for that. When I play E minor there, we've got 3 root notes, we've got 2 fifths, and we've got 1 minor 3rd. Whereas here, we've got 2 minor 3rds. So it's a bit more minory, kind of. Can't mention either E major or E minor without saying, I mean, this has got to be my favourite E almost, and it's not even a chord, because everything's either E, E, B, E, B, E. It's either E or B, so it's just an E5. But it's such a big jangly sound. Now if I played an E minor bar chord here, but instead of barring, I just push that down and then I remove my little finger. It only works for me when I'm picking, but so I've had some joy messing around with that, particularly to a C major 7, but that's not in the key of D, so we won't mention that. Didn't say that, it's all lies. And finally, so that was just an E minor 7 to an E minor. If you think that E effectively same note as at the 12th fret. So I've got a minor third, then a major third, that's just an E minor, then another minor third, that gives me the minor 7. So I like that as a minor 7, E minor 7. So I don't have many favourite F sharp minor chords. This one's almost my standard. So That would be a standard bar chord. I do play that some of the time, but every time an F sharp minor is called for, I try this version, which is an F sharp minor. I've got the two top strings open, so that's one of those is the flat 7 and one of them is the 11. So it's an F sharp minor 7 open brackets 11. And I like the sound. That's my go-to F sharp minor. I do sometimes head up here where we've got this F sharp here. Minor third, major third. I'm pushing down the same 3 strings. I'm getting the same chord. So that's with the open 2 top strings open. F sharp minor 7 with an 11, and that's it for F sharp minor chords. That, I mean, I could come up here and explore this, but I'm just being honest. As far as my favourite goes, I default to that. Sometimes I use that. On to the next, so on to the 4 chords now. G. I'm aware that one of my videos is my favourite 10 G chords. So if you haven't seen that, that's out there. One of my things I'm really aware of with G is that these 3 strings is a G chord. So there's a 1 finger G to be had, or 2. Point being that frees up fingers to push down notes here. That would be so if I put that on that finger, 2nd fret, 4th string, that's the 6th. On the 3rd string, G9. Getting carried away. I do like 9 chords, so yeah, that's a lovely G9, which is a definite favourite. If I do it like a bar chord but leave the top string open, that's actually a 13. Which I do think is a lovely chord. In one of my recent compositions that's absolutely horrible to finger. I've got the root, another root there, major 3rd, and a sharp 11. I do like me a sharp 11. So sometimes I'll play a sharp 11 like that. So it's a so it's just a major 3rd interval with the sharp 11. Or I'll bring in the major 7 note. So yeah, I do like me a sharp 11. And so sometimes I play this where I've just got root, and the sus4, but the open 3rd is the 3. That's actually in a composition of mine. And so here again, this business of pushing down a string and going, oh, the major 3rd and then a minor 3rd for a major chord, or a minor 3rd and a major 3rd for a minor chord. So G here from the 10th fret on the 5th string. So I'm fumbling there, sorry. Still getting used to this guitar. Anyway, excuses. So that's a G I like a lot. And as I was speaking about in one of my recent compositions, I think always in terms of what are the intervals around me. I don't think in terms of notes, but whatever I'm playing, I can generally see all the intervals around it. So I know if this is the 1, then 1 fret down is the major 7. So, you know, if you've got that simple knowledge, you can start doing things like, I don't know, or I'm not going to go off making stuff up again right now, but that's a favourite. A here. Every rock and blues player plays A with one finger. Just want to mention there. An A major 7. But really my favourite A is here. 2nd, 3rd and 4th strings, 5th, 6th and 7th fret. Lose that 5th, which is there in the top string as well. That's a nice A major 9, 2-finger chord, really simple, very beautiful to my mind. That's looking like a D shape on the 2nd, 3rd and 4th strings. that actually gives us an A7. I like that as an A7. And also like this as an A7 as well. So I've got the major third, the root, the flat 7, open A string, top string is the 5th. So I'll do, you know, A major. My ring finger's not doing it there. As I say, tab all at the end. So I do like those. And so I mean, it depends what playing. It's a dominant chord in this key. So a 9. So that's just a 7. If I've got 6th, 4th, and 2nd all across the 5th fret and the 6th fret on the 3rd string. Now, if I change that slightly so that on the 3rd string instead I'm going the 4th fret, that gives me a nice. I mean, it's a sus, but it's a dominant 9. You know, if I'm playing a blues, that sort of vibe. And if you then swap, so that finger, and then I can play this here. This is actually on its own the 7 chord in the key of D, which is a C sharp minor 7 flat 5. And you can see that if there was an A, then that would be a root, a major third, a flat 7, a 9, and a 5. So it's also, it depends on the context. I see that as a rootless A9 if I'm in a blues sort of scene. At the 5th, like a bar chord, but only pushing down the 6th string, that gives us a lovely A major 9. And right up at the 12th fret, I will often play A wrapped in an E5. Which again, the B's making an A9. I'm just the root, the major third, and the 5th. Triads across 3 strings, which I often play. So I'm not tending to mention your standard chords. This that I mentioned earlier, so it looks like an A7 but northwards, so I'm pushing down a 5th and a 3rd at the 2nd fret. Just playing the inner 4 strings. So just with the inner 4 strings, that's simply a B minor 7. Very easy to play. If I wanted to make it a B minor 7 brackets 11, just bring in the top string. Do like that. This just looks like a power chord, but with the open top string. That's what made that an 11. So this is a B This is a B sus 11, I guess. And as I mentioned earlier, when I'm improvising, I do like to do, because I'm a live looper, that's what I mainly do, loop live, perform, as far as performing goes. And so I really favour chords that are neither major or minor, and ambiguous chord progressions, and things that just allow me to use lots of different notes in my improvisations. It's a sort of bit of a jazzer fingering, shell voicings, with just all at the same fret, 6th, 4th and 3rd at the 7th fret. So that's the root note, the B, that's the root note, the flat 7 and the flat 3. And we've got a B and an E, root and 11 on the top string. So and one of my recent compositions, actually, and I'll save that for the next chord, but suffice to say you can play that 2 frets up. Played that badly, try again. That's one of the riffs in my latest composition, so like that a lot. I like jangly chords, I like chords that I can strum and have open strings. I favour open chords up the neck, and have a bit of a bee in my bonnet about people not playing enough open chords up here and thinking that this is the only area for open chords. I won't go on about it though. And if I play a B minor across the 6, 5 and 4 strings here, so that 3rd string gives us an interesting sharp 5. Now we've already got the root, the flat 3 and the 5. So whether you call it a sharp 5 or a flat 6, B minor flat 6, I think, is probably what I'd settle upon. Of course, the open 2nd string is a B, so get into that kind of vibe. So finally, I'm going to move on to the last chord, which is the C sharp minors. I haven't got a lot of them for you, but that said, so I mentioned this earlier, C sharp minor 7 flat 5, that's normally the 7 chord. And you know, if you do say a 1, 7, 6, you know, it's going to sound lovely. And minor 7 flat 5 only suits certain sort of kind of types of music, I guess, genres of music. So just to say that I do often replace a minor 7 flat 5 with a minor 11. I just find that a bit more of an accessible chord and suits the jangly stuff I do more often. I can also do this sort of thing. So I like that. So yeah, minor 11. And in this particular key, if I just fret, and that it took me so long to realise this, I mean, minor 7 flat 5, it's only the flat 5 that might rub up against people's sensibilities or preferences, if you like. So if you just go for it here in this position, the top 2 strings are E and B, and these 2 notes are E and B. So we've got a root, we've got flat 7 times 2, and we've got flat 3 times 2, which is moot the 5th, and we've got this really lovely jangly chord. it's very accessible. So yeah, ditching the fives. Jazzers have been doing it for a century or more. The way to go. So there we have it. They are all my favourite chords in the key of D. Thanks for joining me. I'm doing creating a new video every single day for 100 days. I'd really appreciate if you'd support me by liking, commenting, and subscribing. Take care. Hope you'll consider joining me tomorrow. Bye for now. Bye.